Welcome to the Superbold podcast. I'm Fred Joyal, and I interview amazing, bold people to decode how they got here and what made them make those bold choices and the times that they didn't and the impact it had on their lives. But the power of boldness is what we're going to really look into and look at it in terms of how it's affected their life and their success and their fulfillment. And I have a very special guest today, another extraordinary woman. Her name is Tchiteya, and she has a skincare line business that she created herself. But she has a great origin story, so we're going to dig into that first. Kenna, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Fred. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, when I met you and started to hear about your business and what you created, I was so impressed. And of course, you're an immigrant story as well, and all of that. So you're originally from a small country in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And say the name of it for me.
Yes, from the Congo.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's the Congo. Now, was it always the Congo, or did it change to something else? Was it?
Yeah, it did change. It did change. So it was the Zaire before, and then in the late 90s, they changed it to Congo.
And wasn't it Rhodesia before that, or was that somewhere else?
No, that's probably somewhere else. No. We were
Okay.
always Zaire. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and that I thought that was it, okay, enough with the geography lesson, folks. I know that's what you're thinking. Let's get to but now you are in Canada.
I am.
And you have let's impress people. You have an enormous number of followers. Is it on TikTok that these followers
It is exactly on TikTok. We have well over 1.1 million. Yeah, followers.
I have like a 1.1 thousand on TikTok. 1.1 million followers on TikTok. That's a mic drop moment right there. And how many years did it take to build that?
9 months.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness of how astounding those numbers are. But it just shows that if you find something that's really interesting and produce something of incredible value, that there's a worldwide audience, because that's really what it is. That's around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so why did you get into skincare?
So my motivation came from my own story. So I suffered about 3 years ago, almost. I suffered from severe acne, adult acne at the age of 25. And so it took me a full year to recover from that and get from acne to clear skin. And so last summer, end of 2021, actually, I decided to hop on social media because I knew I really wanted to, create a platform where I would share my story, where I would impact people, inspire people. And I thought, you know what? I have this crazy transformation and all these pictures and videos that I had accumulated around, along the year that I was trying to recover from acne. And I'm like, I have all this footage. How about I just share my story and what I did to recover from the acne? And it literally took off almost overnight. And we acquired this whole, fan and follower base that's pretty amazing now.
Yeah, it's an incredibly loyal fan base. But you did you not have acne as a teenager?
Oh, never.
So
So it literally came out of nowhere for me. Yeah, I thought I had escaped it. I was like, yes, I went through my teenage years, I was good. But then at 25, out of nowhere, it took me by surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, what percentage of the population experiences something like that?
I'm currently working on my program that's about to launch, and I'm literally in the gut of looking at all these statistics, and easily it's, I want to say, I think it's about 90% of the whole population. In terms of women, it's a little bit more than men. So I think women are about 75% of that statistic. So it's a lot of us. Yeah.
Wow. And so you figured out yourself how to treat it. Now, did you go out and just try all sorts of solutions with doctors and over the counter and pharmaceuticals and
Right.
everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, when you go through that, you're kind of like in panic mode and you just want to make it go away. So the first month I tried everything on my own, YouTube videos and going at the pharmacy, like you said, and trying to figure out what could work, but really on my own, did not get to anything. Actually made my skin even a little bit worse, if I'm honest. And I actually reached out to one of my very old friends that I saw on Instagram had just gotten her license to become an esthetician. And I was like, well, she's been talking about how she treats skin. I'm like, let me DM her and see what she could do for me. So I reached out to her, I sent her pictures, and thankfully she kind of took me under her wing. And she kind of taught me the ropes a little bit about how skincare worked. And she really was the one that kind of taught me everything in the beginning. However, she was helping me in terms of treatments and in terms of skincare products. But I realized on my own that unfortunately, it was not doing all of the job, because it would kind of help me treat it, but I would still see the acne constantly coming back. And I thought there must be something else that's missing, because it is working, but it seems like there's a missing link. And that's when I figured out on my own that my nutrition actually, so my diet was actually the root cause of why the acne pimples were just coming back nonstop. So yeah.
So interesting. And for people who are just listening, and even if you're watching it, I've seen Kenna in person. Her skin is absolutely pristine. So
Thank
she
you.
has this, whatever she has done to solve this worked, and it had to be horrifying. And as you said, I can just imagine you're 18 or 19 and you're saying, yeah,
Yep.
I skipped the acne phase of my life. And so that led to you creating your own skincare line.
So right now I'm just working on the behind the scenes of the skincare line. So it has not been out to the public yet. But right now I am about to launch a challenge, which is my acne proof 4-step system on how to clear your acne. And then I'm very excited, of course, in the near future, we're about to launch the skincare line, which is going to be actual physical products. But right now it's really going to be truly the routine and the new habits that I had to develop to make sure that the acne would go away permanently. I know there's no cure to acne. I know there's no kind of like magic remedy to kind of just pop and make it disappear, but there is a lifestyle that you can kind of adopt to make sure that you sustain a beautiful clear skin, and that's what I'm about to teach people. So yeah.
So, but you did manage to monetize this business,
Yeah.
or and so how does that work? How did you create that?
So I mean, for sure, through my TikTok page. So since I built a very big following base, and I literally love, it's of course a passion of mine, testing out different products. I've really made skincare and acne a topic of research for me now. So I love to test out products, see what works, see what doesn't. So now brands, big brands, I've worked with L'Oréal Paris, Lancôme, Neutrogena, I mean, you name it, all of the biggest brands. And they love now to send me their products for me to try and test and see if I want to vouch for it. And of course, once I agree, we're able to now work on a campaign together. And that's how I'm able to monetize my page right now, where I do brand deals and collaborations with these brands that would like to promote their products to my audience. So that's been my model up until now.
So you've created a phenomenal audience that was challenged like you were, or just interested in the solutions that you have. And obviously there's teenagers on there too, I'm sure. Because and that's why it exploded on TikTok so much. There's the challenge of monetizing TikTok in particular, but you've found out, I mean, one of the brands, La Prairie, that you mentioned, that is an extremely expensive skincare line out of France, I believe. And so there are businesses, just so you know, if you're thinking about this yourself as how do I create a business, advertisers are looking for ways to really get to their audience. Because it's harder and harder. You can magazines and television and those media don't work as well, and social media has become very crowded. And so someone like Kenna, who is a skincare influencer, very specifically, let's face it, when you get 1 million TikTok followers, you're influencing people on their behavior. And so the model is that the brands are looking for you because you have real followers, not fake ones. These are devoted, active followers. So what's your output? What would you say your average posting week looks like?
Definitely, now that I've expanded my business into different ventures, I'm posting a little bit less, but definitely the first year, it was easily 3 to 4 times a day. To really build the audience to where it is now, absolutely. I did not skip a day, at least with one post. If it had to be at least one, it would be one. On the days where I was able to post a little bit more, it was 3 to 4 for sure.
All right, so let's jump to how'd you end up in Canada from the Congo?
Well, for my part, I was born and raised in Canada, but my parents immigrated here about 30 years ago because the situation over there in my home country was getting a little bit more, a little bit harder. It was getting a little bit dangerous, and my parents were very well off there, but still, you know, just the conditions of how the country was getting. My dad thought it was probably better to move elsewhere, and so they moved here to Canada about 30 years ago. So my siblings and I were born here. But yeah, so I identify 100% with Canada. You know, I love Quebec and Montreal more specifically. It's very much like home to me, but the Congo is as well. You know, I was there for like a whole month with my family that still lives there. It was an amazing experience. So I identify with both. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're first generation. And so you grew up speaking French.
I did.
Were you learning English simultaneously? That's pretty much what happens. I'm showing my ignorance about Quebec, even though my ancestors are from it. But your English is flawless, and then I've watched you drop into French very quickly, and it's also, you know, you have 2 fluent languages at least.
Yeah.
Now, did your parents speak French? Why did they
my
pick
parents
Quebec?
speak French. Yeah. So my parents speak French because in Congo we speak French and we have other native languages. But since we are a Belgian colony, we do speak French. But you know, here in Montreal as well, being from Quebec, we do speak French. We go to school in French as well. So everything is in French here. But however, the English side of things, actually, I do owe it to my dad for sure, because I think when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my dad switched everything in terms of entertainment for me and my siblings in English. So we were not allowed to watch TV in French, radio, because radio was huge back then. We didn't have social media, so radio was in English. So everything that I did in terms of what I was consuming, in terms of content, music and TV shows and all of that was solely in English. And then my dad put me into private English lessons at the end of elementary school. So I want to say 5th and 6th grade, I was in private English lessons as well, because I really wanted to make sure that I would speak it very fluently without having an accent. And so I kind of really learned it along the first few years of my life. And of course, then in school, we have English classes in high school and all of that. But how I really learned it was definitely all thanks to my dad. He really put it as a top priority for sure. Yeah.
Now, was he able to come and start working, or was that the challenge for him once he moved? I don't know what business he was in the Congo.
Yeah, for sure. It was, I mean, it was a challenge for sure. You know, he had to come back here, go to school, and now he works in medicine research. But for sure, yeah, it was a challenge for sure. Yeah, it's a very long story. I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to talk about it for sure. I would love to talk about that with you. But yeah, it was a challenge for sure.
Well, and you know, as I always look at things in terms of boldness, it's a bold move to uproot your family and move to a different country and abandon all your connections and your source of income and everything. But fortunately, he didn't have a family till he got to Canada, it sounds like. So that made it a little bit easier, and it certainly made it easier for you. So what were your challenges growing up?
I want to say for me, I want to say that we were not, I want to say I was not privileged, but in a way, I want to say that I'm very thankful that my parents did work really hard to make sure that my siblings and I lived a very good childhood, I want to say. So my parents did work hard here. They went back to school. They were able to, I want to say, sacrifice what they had to sacrifice to make sure that we had, you know, great education. I mean, I traveled around the world. My dad sent me to Europe multiple times when I was in high school. I mean, I went to Spain and France and UK. And I mean, I did so many things very young. But I want to say that for me, my biggest challenge was at 19, I became a mom. So I became a mom very early, which was not planned. It was definitely sort of like a non-planned surprise. And I had to learn how to bounce back from that challenge. You know, you're still in school. We have here, right after high school here in Quebec, we have college right before we go to university. So I was still in college when that happened. I had to continue with school. I had to keep on working because, you know, you hear all the stereotypes about how your life is going to be over. You're going to become overweight. You're going to, you know, you're not going to be beautiful anymore. You're not going to succeed in life. Your life is just over. And so I really wanted to make sure that I did not fall in that stereotype. So very early on, I was very determined to become successful and to be very disciplined to make my dreams happen, even though everyone around me was telling me that I had made the worst mistake of my life, which, you know, of course it was not easy, but I never gave up. And ultimately, you know, in due time, the results will show, and they finally did. And, you know, I'm very fortunate now to live the life that I live, but it was not easy. It was not easy. My years in my 20s, I'm almost 29 now. So it's been almost 10 years since that happened. And it's been one of a ride for sure.
So she's what, 7 now?
So he's 9. He's 9 years old now.
Oh, he's 9.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he's got to be very proud of his mom with the, the TikTok stuff,
Yeah, because even his friends at school, they follow me and he's like, Mom, my friends follow you. And it's, yeah, so he's excited about that. Yeah.
That's great. And I mean, that's a bold move too, is to not give up and say, society's got its determination for me, and I can fall into that, or I can find my own way
Yeah.
and rise above that. And so you've managed to do it. And I'm sure it wasn't easy because you were still in college, and so
Yeah.
you were going to classes pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so were your parents supportive of that, or were they kind of angry with you about this?
I mean, oh yeah, I mean for sure. They were very shocked. They were angry for sure. But thankfully, even I mean the father of my son, we were in a very long-term relationship, so we knew each other very well. Both of our families knew each other. So I mean, our family, thankfully, after the facts, everybody was, of course, very supportive all throughout my pregnancy and after, of course, now my parents and the parents of my child's father, I mean, they love our son probably more than they love us, to be honest. They are very proud grandparents now and they love him so much. But no, for sure. I mean, we were just two young kids at 19, becoming parents. So for sure, it was a shock for everybody. But thankfully, we have very, very great family members. I mean, our siblings, our parents, everybody was on it. They really kind of helped us raise him as well. They've been really in our corner the last 9 years. And thankfully, I even say that if it wasn't for just the support of my siblings and my parents, I would not have been, able to do what I do now, even just helping me with like going to school and sometimes picking him up from kindergarten and from school. And, if I have classes that are a little bit late at night, or if I have to run errands and I have to do this and that, or even when I go, on trips, like, when I go to Nashville, when we met, I mean, my kid is with, his dad, or he's with, our family members. And so I really have a very, very good village, sort of say, around me that really allow me to really thrive in a way and really go for my dreams. And even the father of my child, even if we're not in a relationship anymore, we are, very supportive of each other. He supports me as a father. He encourages me in what I want to do. He allows me to go for what I want. And so I'm very, very fortunate in that aspect for sure.
And I mean, it's great that your son has a full relationship with his dad as well.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference. So did you ever get married, or did
Personally, no. So him and I were never married, and I have never gotten married so far, but it's one of my goals. So
well, yeah, you're in your prime at this point, but you're a successful, independent woman, raising a powerful son, and I'm sure that he will be inspired by what his mom does as well as what his dad does. But I think just having the support of all of your family will make a tremendous difference in his life. And I mean, it's so beautiful that the father of your son, his parents get to have a grandson. They get to enjoy their grandson. And as you say, they probably love him much more, which is what grandparents do anyway.
Literally, yeah.
So what's next on the horizon? This challenge is coming up. Tell me more. Give me some more detail on this challenge that you're launching, because it's probably going to be launched by the time we publish this, because I know it's coming out very soon.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, this journey was kind of unplanned, but it was planned at the same time. I mean, just like this new career that I created the past year has been, it kind of like fell on my lap, but I made it happen at the same time. So it's really crazy. It has gone by so fast. I mean, I say that I don't really recommend it, but since we're talking about boldness, just a little backstory. I was literally working as a customer service agent for Apple before I created my TikTok page. And I was very unsatisfied with where I was in my life. I was like, I know I want to be an entrepreneur. I have been trying to become an entrepreneur since I was 19. Actually, I tried so many different businesses. It did not work. And I was kind of back to square one, working from home, customer service on the phone for Apple. And I saw this TikTok thing and I'm like, you know what? This thing is kind of becoming a little bit more popular. It seems like it has something to it. I've been seeing people blowing up and changing their lives like overnight. I'm like, this thing is becoming crazy. I'm like, you know what? Let me try it out. I actually quit my job at Apple without having a second plan. I did not have any backup plan. My TikTok page was not even created. I had no followers. But I really, really believed in myself, and I thought, you know what? I have this amazing story with my skin. I'm gonna go all in, and it's gonna work. It has to work. And I mean, my first 3 months, I think after my first 3 months, I did my first $10,000 month. I mean, so it was really crazy. It went by really fast, but it's because I was bold enough to really go full force with this idea. And after the full year that I was on TikTok, I just would keep on getting questions about, we need more help with the skin, you know, we need more help with the acne. It's a little bit confusing, you know, there's so many products out there on the market. We don't know where to start, where it ends, what comes first, what comes second. Women are just frustrated because they realize that, you know, there's so many products out there, but there's no guideline really as to how to really make it work. There's no skin education out there, really. Women are kind of led to themselves to kind of figure it out on their own. And I just saw the need, you know, from my audience, and I thought, you know what? Social media, it was a great platform to start for me, but I realized that social media is such a crowded place that it was hard for women to kind of put 1 + 1 together in a very clear and structured way of how do I take care of my skin? So I wanted to create a roadmap, a very clear guideline of how to go from, you know, struggling with your skin with severe acne, and how to get to clear skin. And I realized that the product part was great because I am a product junkie, just like multiple women are. It is kind of like a thing that we have. We love to consume, we love to buy products, beauty products especially. So it's great, but there was a missing link, like I said, as well, the nutrition part, the health and diet part, even going all the way to sleeping well and exercising and managing your stress levels. All these things affect our skin. And so I realized that I really had to create that kind of like skincare Bible in a way, where I knew that if women were to go back to that, they would have everything they need to really have that clear skin that they are longing for. So I created the Clear Your Acne in 90 Days, which is my acne-proof 4-step system, where I literally teach women how to go from point A to Z in a very clear and concise manner. I really touch on all subjects, but I really make it very digestible, very easy to understand, and very quick as well to get through, because I see women struggle, but I see that a lot of them have been struggling for a very long time. A lot of them have been struggling for many years. Some of them are telling me that they've had acne since they were in high school. They're like 30 years old now. It still hasn't gone away. They've tried all the products in the world. And so it took me about, I want to say 9 months for me too, of trial and error and figuring out the perfect formula for me to get to clear skin. And I realized that after going through that, I thought, you know what? I think I have the perfect formula that truly, if you apply it for 90 days, you give it a good 3 months, you should really be able to see a very big drastic change in your skin. And I know that it took me a little bit more time because I had to figure it out and put all the pieces together. But now that the puzzle is really complete, I know that women are able to go through my program in 90 days and really see their skin completely transform. And of course, they have the roadmap to just maintain that new lifestyle for the rest of their lives as well. So that's what I'm working on. It's launching on March 24th of 2023, so in a couple weeks. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
You are so passionate about skincare, but I mean, it's because you solved this, you cracked the code on this.
Yeah.
And by not giving up until you solved it, being determined to find an answer, but also being determined to create a business. But the other thing that I heard that's very interesting is you would tried a whole bunch of other businesses and failed.
Yeah.
So you're not easy to discourage. As far as because that's a lot of people are one and done, right? That with a lot of things, it's like they try stuff, it doesn't go well, they feel like they failed, or they got embarrassed because they didn't succeed, or they blew a bunch of money. And you just said, I got to try something else. I got to try something else. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of those businesses that you tried gave you some information in your business.
Oh, absolutely.
So that mistakes you don't want to make again, or this was the one thing in the business that failed that actually worked really well. And so now it's all synced up into one great business model. Is there a book in your future? Because it seems like there's going to be a demand for that, and I'm sure you're doing public speaking as well, you know, virtual and real. I mean, this is and so you're 28, or you? Very exciting to see you at this place in your life and to hear this whole story. I'd like to just say, I'm stumbling around here. Fortunately, I can edit this out. But if you had advice, I'm going to ask you two things. And the first one is going to be as a single mother. What advice, okay, this is where the edit comes. So what advice would you give to someone who is a new single mother, or facing the fact that they are going to be a single mother? What would you say to them?
On the emotional side of things, I would tell them that it's going to be okay. Like, really, truly, in terms of sitting down with yourself. I know the despair that you may be feeling. I know the fears. So I would really say, being that it's been 9 years, I sometimes I can't believe it. You truly feel like it's the end of the world, but then there is truly life after it. So you're going to be okay. Truly take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. In the more practical side of things, I would truly say, try to find, you know, a core group of people that you can really count on, because you will definitely not be able to do it on your own. You're going to need a lot of help, especially if you want to move on with your life and keep on trying things and accomplishing things. It's super, super important. I know some women are not, you know, fortunate. Some women, unfortunately, are really left on their own, and they don't have their partners anymore. Some people don't even have some key family members anymore around. But even if it's, you know, a couple of good friends, or your community around you, please try to find those people that you can really, really count on. because they're going to be very, very needed for sure.
Yeah, I can see that. And also to be there for them, to create, you know, if it's another single mother or a group of single mothers,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
there for
absolutely.
each other.
Mhm.
Because there'll be times when you could say, look, just drop them off here, right? And
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
home tonight, you
absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, and look for the support and be the support, I think would be
Mm-hmm.
very, very powerful in getting through this. But you're an inspiration to those people that say, like, this worked out. I was in a full state of despair about it, and just it's turned out extremely well. So the last thing is, what would 28-year-old Kenna tell 18-year-old Kenna?
I would really say that you were right. You were right, because when I signed my high school yearbook, under my picture I said, "Remember me when I'm famous." And I was 17-year-old, and I always knew deep down inside of me that I was really meant for a bigger purpose. You know, my dad, my parents, I mean, my dad has been telling me since I was really young that I was just a very special kid, that I would really make it really big in life, that I had a big purpose, you know, in this life. And till this day, he tells me that he's really not surprised that I finally cracked my way into, you know, the success that I wanted to have, because he's been seeing it since I was a child. And 20-year-old me would say that an 18-year-old me, when you kind of had this vision of like, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to do this and that, you know, you were right. I mean, you fell on your face so many times, but you never gave up. Truly, like I used to not understand it, because when I would look at other people when I was younger, you know, they would say, believe in yourself and just keep going, and dreams really do come true. And I was just like, really? Does it? Because we're struggling here and it's just not happening. And so I would not get it, but now I really do. Like, it's really, really true. It will work out in due time, but as well, I think that it will really work out when you really feel like you're at a point where it has to work no matter what. I think that sometimes we are a little bit, sometimes I feel like we're a little bit like easy on ourselves. We're not, because I've always been like disciplined, and I tried multiple things, but when you get to a point where I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired, I was like, this is it. Like, I've been trying this thing for the past 6, 7, 8 years. I'm like, I'm done. This time it has to work. When I took TikTok, I really took it as my last and only way to make things work. And for whatever reason, the brain just made sure to find all the solutions possible to make everything come together. So I think that, you know, you can't rush the process. So for sure, there are some things that need to happen in order for you to get to that point. But I think if there's any advice for anybody out there, truly take it very seriously. Do not negotiate with yourself. Be very, very head on with what you want to do. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot, work a lot, but you have to see it as your only way to make it out, truly. And for whatever reason, the magic happens. The magic happens from there. So it's important. It's important.
I think that's so true. I think when you decide there's no going back, there's no way
Yeah.
out, this has to work, that's when it works. And as you say, a lot of people are easy on themselves. They go like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to try running a business and see how it goes. And they're waiting for the money to rain down on them.
Yeah.
When actually it's just, you have to keep stepping up and solving the problems. And the harder it is, the better a business it is, in my mind, because the harder it is to compete with you. If it were easy, then everybody be doing it, you know, 2 hours a week and making great money.
Right.
So, well, that's incredibly inspiring, just phenomenal advice. I feel blessed to have found you and get to know you better. And I'm sure people are really appreciating this life experience that you've had and this success that you've had as a young woman and I can't wait to see Kenna 2.0 and 3.0 and 4.0. It's going to be remarkable. But thank you so much for this. And I look forward to seeing you out there on the road again. And everybody else,
Yes, for sure.
learn from this and keep on becoming remarkable. Thank you, Kenna.
Thank you so much, Fred. I mean, it's been amazing to get to know you as well. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, that's our episode.
Yay!
Oh wait, before I have to say, we have to say it's kennaskincare.com is your domain, KENA, skincare.com. And what's the TikTok?
Yeah, so it's Miss Kenna, MISSSKENA.
Yeah, so become one of the many millions of TikTok followers.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's our show. Thanks, everybody.